Here are the top stories for today, February 11, 2020. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. has signed the notice of termination of the Philippines VFA with the United States. The Supreme Court has ordered ABS-CBN to submit its comments on the quo warranto petition within 10 days. 3 more persons under investigation in Negros Oriental are declared free from novel coronavirus infection. And the president plans to visit the country's tourist destinations to boost local tourism.
Good day, I'm William Theo. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom. A development on President Rodrigo Duterte's move to scrap the country's visiting forces agreement with the United States. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. has signed the notice of termination of the Philippines VFA with the United States. In a Twitter post, DFA Undersecretary Brigido Dulay said on the order of the President through Executive Secretary Salvador Medialdea, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teddy Locsin signed today the notice of termination of the VFA, which will be delivered to the U.S. Embassy in Manila forthwith. President Duterte earlier bared that U.S. President Donald Trump and other top executives were trying to prevent the VFA's abrogation. The president is bent on carrying this move after the U.S. government canceled the visa of Senator Ronald De La Rosa. Meanwhile, President Duterte said U.S. President Donald Trump is trying to save the visiting forces agreement between the U.S. and the Philippines from being terminated. Janice Cave tells us more.
Despite the efforts of U.S. President Donald Trump, Duterte said he refused to change his position to scrap the VFA agreement, stressing that American lawmakers were rude for demanding the release of Senator Laila de Lima.
Si Trump pati yung others are trying to save the visiting forces agreement. Sabi ko, ayaw ko. One is that napakabastos ng Amerikano. Talagang sobrang bastos. Imagine demanding the release of De Lima under threat that we will not receive the aid at may kulatilia, that all persons who had a hand in the imprisonment of De Lima will not be allowed to go to the United States. Ano bang nasa Amerika, ganunin mo ako?
Duterte also slammed the American senators for criticizing his administration's aggressive crackdown on illegal drugs. He lamented that the American lawmakers had gone too far in insulting the Philippine government, saying it is bordering the trashing of our sovereignty.
AJK, wala man sabi ako pinatay ko daw. Sino man pinatay ko? Sinabi ko, do not destroy my country. Because if you destroy my country, I will kill you. Ang lamentation ko. Sobra sila kung uminsulto kasi. So somebody has to remind them.
Duterte lamented how the VFA failed to help local troops defeat communist insurgency in the Philippines. He also stressed that he still lost police and soldiers to wars every day.
We've been fighting the communists for 53 years. Kung nakatulong talaga ang Amerika, naman hanggang ngayon. If it's just a matter of weaponry, sabihin mo, kailangan namin itong it's just that to go abroad and nothing else. And training, dito may balikatan. After the balikatan exercises, they go home with their armaments. They do not leave it with us. Wala. Tsaka kung bumili ka, mahal.
Meanwhile, Duterte admitted that he did not know if nuclear arms were brought in by the U.S. into the Philippines. Last month, U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Policy John Rood said the U.S. military deployed a new submarine-launched low-yield nuclear weapon. Several former high-ranking administration officials warned it could increase the potential for nuclear conflict. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Janice Cave.
The United States Embassy in Manila on Monday dismissed as fraudulent the reported cancellation of tourist visas for Filipinos. In a statement, U.S. Embassy spokesperson Heather Fabricant said the U.S. Embassy in the Philippines is aware of a fraudulent advisory alleging the cancellation or revocation of tourist visas and the suspension of visa applications. These claims are not true. The embassy said U.S. visa policy in the Philippines has not changed. The misinformation supposedly originated from imposters claiming to be an official U.S. source. For accurate and current information, you may visit the official U.S. Embassy website and official social media platforms. You may also email them to report visa and passport fraud. Anti-communist groups staged a protest in front of the Dutch embassy in Makati City on Friday to denounce the violence and atrocities committed by the CPP, NPA, NDF, and its allies. The League of Parents of the Philippines and Liga Filipinas Independencia, Youth for Peace and Development, and the Coalition for Peace urged the Dutch government to stop harboring CPP founder Jose Maria Sison. The groups also requested for the cancellation of Sison's asylum status and let him face the various cases filed against him in the Philippines. The anti-communist groups have also condemned the launching of a book titled Jose Maria Sison, Reflections on Revolution and Prospects, saying it's one way to promote the wrong ideologies of the communists. The members of the anti-communist group said they will not stop rallying both the Dutch and Philippine governments until Sison is sent back to the country and punished for all the atrocities he committed. President Duterte assures the repatriation of Filipinos should the 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak worsen. And the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council joins in the heightened information drive. More on these from Laid Cabagani.
President Duterte on Monday vowed to repatriate overseas Filipino workers should the 2019 novel coronavirus outbreak worsen.
Kung nagkakamatayan na talaga at ang mga Pilipino doon pinagtutulak na, whether you like it or not, I will bring them home. I will bring them home because they have no other country to seek shelter. Kung ang Pilipino doon pinapaalis, ipupunta tayo and we will marshal all available carriers there by ship or by air. Kunin natin sila.
Duterte assured that there will be safety precautions done for all OFWs who wish to be repatriated from countries with confirmed cases of 2019 nCoV infection. Meanwhile, Duterte praised Health Secretary Duque, who he described as a seasoned cabinet member, for leading the agency in containing 2019 nCoV in the country.
But if you can just listen to Secretary Duque, he will be as good as any other expert. Matagal na yan siya sa gobyerno.
He said panicking over the 2019 nCoV outbreak did not help stop the spread of the deadly virus.
You want to shout to the heavens? Go ahead. Would it prevent the corona from invading the country? And so kung sabihin mo na if it's a matter of contamination, we'll just have to rely on the antibodies of how strong the antibodies of the Philippines are. Medyo hindi madali itong Pilipino matamaan ng mga sakit. Una-una, malakas magdasal.
In other news, 4 more Filipinos on board the quarantine cruise ship in Japan tested positive for the 2019 novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease. According to the Department of Foreign Affairs, the 4 who were among the 6 newly confirmed cases of the virus are now being treated in a hospital. The embassy said it is closely coordinating with Japanese authorities and is in constant communication with the Filipinos still inside the ship for assistance. And as the government is stepping up its information campaign about the virus outbreak in China, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council said it is supporting the information campaign led by the DOH to ensure that all communications regarding nCoV are factual and accurate. Aside from information dissemination campaign, the agency would also provide assistance on the conduct of contact tracing and field validation, repatriation of overseas Filipinos, coordination with local government units and partners, mobilization of logistics and conduct of biochemical interventions, management of quarantined areas, and other tasks. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Lid Kabagani.
Still to come, Malacanang Defense Solicitor General Jose Calida on the filing of a quo warranto petition against broadcast giant ABS-CBN. 3 more persons under investigation in Negros Oriental are declared free from novel coronavirus infection. More on these when the PNA Newsroom continues.
I would like also to take this opportunity to assure all our Filipino brothers and sisters that the national government remains to be on top of the threat of the coronavirus. We are prepared to handle all public emergency in case the worst possible scenario happens. We have initiated the repatriation of 30 Filipinos from Wuhan City, China. Upon their arrival at the Haribon hangar at Clark Air Base on 9 February, they were safely and swiftly transported to the Athletes Village in the new Clark in Tarlac, which will be their home for the 14-day quarantine period. We will continue to coordinate with the DOH, other concerned agencies, so that we can meet the needs not only of those who were not affected by the virus, but also the welfare of our frontline health workers. To all chief executives, I hope that this situation will further strengthen our commitment towards becoming responsive and conscientious servant leaders that our country can protect and rely on. May you continue working with us so that we can secure a stronger and healthier future for our country.
The Supreme Court has ordered ABS-CBN to submit its comments on the quo warranto petition filed by Solicitor General Jose Calida within 10 days. The High Court issued the directive on Tuesday's en banc session, giving the media company 10 days to comment on the plea. The court also sought for ABS-CBN's comment on the proposed issuance of a temporary restraining order that would prohibit the network from operating the KBO channel. Calida on Monday asked the SC to cancel ABS-CBN's legislative franchise, citing highly abusive practices. These include allowing foreign investors to take part in the ownership of a Philippine mass media entity, as well as launching media services without prior approval from the National Telecommunications Commission. The petition comes weeks before the network's existing franchise is set to expire on March 30th. Malacanang on Monday said Solicitor General Jose Calida was only doing his job when he filed a quo warranto petition seeking to forfeit the legislative franchises of ABS-CBN Corporation and its subsidiary ABS-CBN Convergence Incorporated. In a palace briefing, presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo said the SolGen is constitutionally bound to institute any action against any transgressors of the law. and if a franchise holder is violating its franchise, then it is his duty to file a petition of quo warranto. Panelo denied that President Rodrigo Duterte had a hand in Calida's decision to seek the revocation of their legislative franchises, stressing that it was not the president's style to interfere with other government officials' decisions. He said Duterte was only expressing displeasure over ABS-CBN's supposed bias reporting, failure to air his political ads during the 2016 presidential race, and return the money he paid for these. And in our business news, the Philippines' bid towards an A-level credit rating is expected to get a lift from the International Monetary Fund's recommendations. RCBC Chief Economist Michael Ricafort said IMF's proposals for additional expansionary macroeconomic policy will help increase inclusive growth and development and further reduce poverty and raise overall living standards. Ricafort said improvement of public investment management will further allow businesses and industries to provide better product quality and service delivery at lower costs. He said easing restrictions on FDIs will entice more investors to place their funds in the country, which in turn will increase domestic jobs and business opportunities. Improvement of global competitiveness as well as governance standards, among others, would help in strengthening the country's economic and credit fundamentals. Ricafort further said additional reform measures to increase recurring sources of revenues, anti-corruption measures to address leakages on government spending, and ensure more inclusive economic growth and development over the long term are pluses for the economy. Three villages in conflict-affected Datu Saudi Ampatuan in Maguindanao has declared persona non grata the Islamic State-linked Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters and Dawla Islamia terrorist group. Local officials of Barangay Gawang, Kitapok, and Kitango approved on Sunday a joint resolution denouncing the atrocities committed by the BIFF and DITG. The remote areas of DSA and nearby areas near the Liguasan Marsh are frequently being harassed by the BIFF and DITG elements. For its part, the 57th Infantry Battalion vowed to protect the residents under its area of assignment against violent extremism espoused by the terrorist groups. The 57th Infantry Battalion gathered residents from the three affected villages to educate them on the dangers of violent extremism. Health authorities have cleared several persons under investigation in the provinces who were suspected of being infected by the novel coronavirus. More on this from Benjamin Doc.
3 more persons under investigation in Negros Oriental have tested negative for the novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease. The 3 comprise the final batch of the 8 PUIs in the province to yield negative results of the coronavirus test, with no new PUIs reported. All 8 are Filipinos and had developed flu-like symptoms after coming into close contact with the 2 Chinese tourists who were found to be positive of the novel coronavirus last month. As of latest count, the province now only has 3 persons under monitoring, which include a Polish and 2 Chinese nationals who have had travel history to Hong Kong and China. Meanwhile, the Department of Health Ilocos Regional Office and the Provincial Health Office has assured that Pangasinan is still free of the 2019 nCoV. But in the Ilocos region, 3 Chinese nationals are considered PUIs and are currently admitted at the Ilocos Training and Regional Medical Center in La Union. The DOH assured the Region 1 Medical Center located at Dagupan City is equipped to treat patients infected with the 2019 nCoV. In Bacolod City, 6 PUIs were admitted in tertiary hospitals here after traveling to nCoV-affected areas, while 3 others have already been discharged since Wednesday last week. Vice Mayor El Cid Familiaran, chairman of the Bacolod City Interagency Task Force against the nCoV, said all 6 patients are in stable condition. The said PUIs have traveled to either Hong Kong, Macau, Zhuhai in China, or Taiwan. Last Wednesday, the City Council approved the 10 million funding support to the Interagency Task Force for the Prevention and Control of the Disease. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Bench Bondo.
Up next, the President plans to visit the country's tourist destinations to boost local tourism. And volunteers removed 69 tons of garbage in a massive cleanup drive in Caraga region. The PNA Newsroom returns after these reminders.
Tamang paraan ng paghuhugas ng kamay. Ang wasto at regular na paghuhugas ng kamay ay mabisang paraan upang makaiwas sa mga sakit. Ito ay makatutulong sa pagpigil ng pagkalat ng virus na nagdudulot ng sakit. Una, basain ng tubig ang mga kamay at sabunin. Ikalawa, sabunin ang mga palad. Ikatlo, sabunin ang likod ng mga kamay. Sumunod, kuskusin ang mga pagitan ng daliri. Ikalima, kuskusin ang mga kuko. Ika-anim, kuskusin ang pagitan ng mga hinlalaki. Pagkatapos, kuskusin ng paikot ang mga dulo ng mga daliri sa magkabilang palad. At panghuli, banlawang mabuti sa malinis na tubig at patuyuin ang mga kamay gamit ang single-use towel o air dryer. Todo laban kontra 2019 novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease.
President Rodrigo Duterte is set to join a campaign to boost domestic tourism and show that Philippine destinations are safe for travel amid the 2019 novel coronavirus scare. Tourism Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat said they had a meeting with stakeholders to discuss strategies to keep the country's travel sector afloat. Romulo Puyat said the president wants to start traveling around the country to show that it is indeed safe. She said the campaign would target Boracay, Cebu, and Bohol destinations heavily affected by the decrease in tourists due to the 2019 nCoV outbreak. In the coming days, the tourism sector has agreed to roll out more value-added tour packages, discounted accommodation rates, and marked-down prices for domestic flights. The initiative is seen to roll out by next week. The Philippine Basketball Association has rescheduled the opening of its 45th season due to the threat of the deadly novel coronavirus acute respiratory disease. In a statement, Commissioner Willie Marshall announced that the opening day of the 2020 season will now be on March 8. Despite the rescheduling of the opening day rights, the PBA activities will still take place. The opening ceremonies will begin with the Leo Awards, where the most valuable player of the past season will be named. It will then be followed by the formal opening program, and finally, the early Philippine Cup Finals rematch between San Miguel and Magnolia will cap the night. The opening event will happen at the Smart Araneta Coliseum in Quezon City. The PBA also resolved to postpone the opening of the D-League season to March 2nd. The PBA D-League was actually scheduled to begin its 2020 Cage Fest on Thursday. The scenic road linking mga Tarem, Pangasinan and Santa Cruz, Zambales, known as Daang Kalikasan, is expected to be finished next year. The Department of Public Works and Highways said about 3 kilometers remained under construction in the 4-lane road. They plan to finish road works at the Daang Kalikasan in Mga Tarem town before the onset of the rainy season. They are also constructing a 30-meter bridge and a 5-kilometer road that will connect Mga Tarem and Aguilar. The project was initiated in 2012 by then 2nd District Representative Leopoldo Batawil, now Mayor of Lingayen Town. Batawil said the Daang Kalikasan is part of the 54-kilometer 5-year road project of the national government. He said the road construction will not only improve travel and tourism, but will also ensure the protection and preservation of the virgin forests in the area. The Daang Kalikasan already draws tourists as it is known for its picturesque view. In continued efforts to clean up the environment, students and youth participated in a simultaneous cleanup drive around Caraga region. The volunteers collected about 69 tons of domestic waste and garbage from the region's rivers. More on this from Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
The massive one-day river cleanup drive conducted by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources in Caraga region over the weekend yielded a total of 1,805 sacks of domestic waste and garbage. Over 6,000 students, youths, and other volunteers braved inclement weather and joined the simultaneous cleanup drive in 15 sites in Caraga region. Participants scooped out of rivers and creeks plastics and domestic garbage weighing a total of 69 tons. 18 tons were gathered in Bislig City, particularly in Tabon and Mangagoy rivers, while over 2,000 kilograms of waste were extracted from Kinabjangan River in the town of Nasipit, Agusan del Norte. For his part, DNR 13 Executive Director Felix Alicer called on residents to stop throwing their garbage in rivers and creeks. The cleanup of rivers and creeks is one of the top priority programs of Secretary Roy Simatu, who wants pollution-free flowing rivers so that Filipinos can always have access to clean water. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Ruth Abby Gita Carlos.
Let's take another look at today's biggest stories.
Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. has signed the notice of termination of the Philippines VFA with the United States. The Supreme Court has ordered ABS-CBN to submit its comments on the quo warranto petition within 10 days. 3 more persons under investigation in Negros Oriental are declared free from novel coronavirus infection. And the president plans to visit the country's tourist destinations to boost local tourism.
Thank you for watching another episode of the PNA Newsroom. To check out more news content, check our webpage or head on to the Philippine News Agency's Facebook and Twitter accounts. For more stories about the government and how it serves Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites. We are shown on the pages of the PCOO and its attached agencies. Also, watch us on television on PTV4 and IBC13. And that's your daily dose of the biggest stories that you need to know. From the PNA Newsroom, I am William Theo. Good day.